you. So I'm steady calling her because like, girl, this is not a texting matter. Answer the phone. Hello and welcome to my channel. It's yours truly, Chanel Jasmine. And in today's video, it's a story time of me finding out my boyfriend was married. Before we get into this video, please comment, like, and subscribe and hit the bell button so that you're notified every time that I post. And now let's get into it. Go ahead, pause this video, go get your snacks, your popcorn, whatever it is that you're gonna need, because we're gonna get into some things. At the time, I was staying with my mom. Mind you, this was around the time like I wasn't loving myself. Now, I told you guys I grew up in a very chaotic household. Like my mom liked to drink and it can get really chaotic. So that was still happening while I was currently staying with her. Mind you, I'm like, if I'm 28, I had to be 24, 25 maybe. And I didn't want to be home. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't good for my mental health. The only good thing that came out of staying with her at that time were my twin brothers. Like they were just my heart. Like anytime I went home, I looked forward to seeing them. Like they were just everything during that time for me. So at the time, I wasn't working. I was driving Uber. Early in the morning, maybe like 5 a.m., I used to get up and go do Uber. Because if you do Uber, you know that early in the morning, the prices is high. Like for example, I lived in South Philly at the time, so that's like 10 minutes from the airport. If you take somebody to the airport from South Philly to the airport at like 5:30, 6:30 a.m., that was like $30 that you made. Versus if you take them at like 10 a.m., 11 a.m., you only making like $10 for real. So again, you made the most money that early. So I used to get up early and I used to literally just stay out like all day. Because again, I did not want to be in that house. Like I tried to be out as much as possible. So I would do Uber and then at the time I was smoking. So I would go park up by the water or something, smoke, you know what I'm saying? Probably cruise around the hood and then I would go home. Majority of the day I was doing Uber though. All right, boom. So one day someone hit my car. So I had did a police report about that. I was still upset. This is all the same day. I was still so upset. So it was like Broad and Lehigh, and because I'm familiar with that area, I knew there's always a patrol car that's sitting there, right? So mind you, I'm still upset. I'm still so upset. So I ride that way because I wanted to ask like another officer, like, you know, like what is the purpose of these police reports? Because from my experience, y'all don't do nothing. Like I was on 10, y'all. I was on 10. I don't know what was going on with me this day. I was on 10, okay? I'm driving this way. There's not a cruiser in the usual spot, but there's a cruiser sitting in the middle of Broad Street, right? So if you're not familiar with Philly, Broad Street is like, there's 2 lanes going one way, there's 2 lanes going this way, and then there's like a lane in the middle of the street. Sometimes depending on where you're at, sometimes cars park right there. It's a lane, but it's not open, if that makes sense. If there's an event on Broad Street, then you can park in that middle part, but it's not really a lane. I hope that makes sense. So this particular day, the cop cruiser is sitting in this middle lane at Broad and Lehigh, right? So I see him. There's a gas station that was right across from where he was parked at. So I parked in the gas station and then I walked across the 2 lanes to the cruiser. Mind y'all, I'm on 10. So I see the cop is African American, so that made me feel a little bit better because I just feel like Caucasian cops, they just don't care. So that made me feel a little better, but I didn't want to approach the vehicle. So I like stood in front of it and I was like, can you get out the car, please? So he gets out the car and mind you, I'm on 10. I'm still like so upset. So I'm telling him what happened. Like someone hit my car, that. Like, can you tell me what's the whole purpose of the police report? Like, what is the point? I remember him being so calm and he helped me. Like the information I don't remember exactly what he said, but the information he gave me was very helpful. And I remember I calmed down because I was like, most of the time, especially in Philly, when you talk to a cop, they kind of make the situation worse. I'm not even gonna lie. But this specific officer, he made sense. So I remember I was at a 10 and I went to like a 2. I'm not even joking. So I calmed down and then I look at him and he was pleasing to the eye. Okay, I'll just say that. He was pleasing to I gotta get myself some snacks. But he was pleasing to the eye. So I was like, are you single? I'm very like upfront, like I don't care. So I was like, are you single? And he was like, yeah, I do live with my baby mom, but we're not together. Now I know that should have been okay, never mind. I know. Don't come for me. I didn't know then what I know. I am much wiser now, okay? So, but when he said it, I was like, oh, okay. So we wound up exchanging numbers, right? And then mind you, I told y'all I stayed out majority of the day. So I think I like went to my sister's house. We had like a little game night or something. I did something that evening to waste time basically before I went in the house. And he ends up calling me, and there was like this spot that I went to that was kind of like, it was like in the cut, and there was like a pretty view of Philly. He texted me like that day, so I wound up seeing him that night. He met me at this spot. So I just remember, like, you know how like you're nervous around a new man or somebody you just met or stuff like that? I wasn't nervous at all. Like, it felt like we kind of knew each other. So I remember we, both pulled up at this location. He got in my car. Obviously, we just sat there. And we was listening to like 90s love songs. He was singing them to me. Like, I don't know. It just felt like I knew him. Like, it didn't feel like somebody I just met. Okay, cool. So fast forward. We were talking more. And he spent a lot of time at work, right? His shift was 4 p.m. to 8 a.m., right? So he said. So a lot of the times when I would see him, I was pulling up on him while he was on duty, basically. So you know how you see a cop car just sitting like somewhere, just posted up? Most of the time, he would tell me where he would be at, and then I would meet him, and then I would just sit in the patrol car with him. Mind you, I was seeing him probably like every day. We hadn't officially been on a date. Don't come for me. This is a story time, okay? I know I should have known better. We haven't officially been on a date, but he did say like he was always working. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. So 3 months in, I remember we met up somewhere and I had to leave him because I had a date. He like, what you mean you got a date? And I'm like, what you mean what I mean? So he like, what you mean you got a date? So I'm like, why are you confused? Like, you ain't never asked me to be your girl. Like, what is going on? So in that moment, he like, oh no, you mine. Like, so I'm like, no, you're gonna ask me properly. Like, I'm a lady. So he ended up asking me properly. That's how the relationship started, okay? Now, fast forward, we're still going on. I'm still pulling up on him. Sometimes he would pull up. At the time, I was living at my mom's house, right? So I didn't want him over there. I did not want him there. Mind you, I haven't been to his house. I hadn't been to his house, but I didn't make it a big deal because I didn't want him at mine either. You know what I mean? So like, I didn't put two and two together. Like, there's a reason why he don't want you at his. I just didn't make it a big deal because I don't want you at my crib either. So we were meeting up, like I said, while he was on the clock, or he would come like to my side of the town and we would meet up somewhere else or whatever, case like that. So that was just like our thing. So again, I mentioned to him dates. Like, I was like, I want to start going out on dates or whatever. He just was like, when I find time, like, we'll go out, da-da-da-da. And I didn't really press the issue because so remember that date I told y'all? The night he asked me to be his girlfriend? I still went on that date. So the reason why I wasn't pressuring him into taking me out on dates is because I had someone else that was doing it. Literally, the other guy, every time I seen him, we went out on a date. Every time. I know. Listen, you feel me? Like, we all got a pass, right? So that was the reason why I wasn't pressuring him into doing things that a boyfriend should do because I had someone else doing all those things. You feel me? But it was like I loved him. Like that was the boyfriend. I loved him, but I still had men on the side getting me the flowers. I had men taking me on dates. I had men showering me and sending me money for my nails. I mean, he did that, but I'm saying like everywhere he lacked, I had somebody else to make up for it, which is why I wasn't pressuring him into doing it. So all this time, my spirit is just like, this is not your husband. Like, I just knew it. But I was like, it was a good time because by me being with him almost every day, I wasn't in my mom's house. Like, it was just a good time for that time. And so I was just like, you know, I'm just going to enjoy it while it's here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know this is not my husband. I know that. Months is going by, months is going by, months is going by. And that kind of was our thing. So one time my car had got towed, right? It was towed for like a whole week because I had like tickets and I had to pay those tickets in order to get my car back. So for that whole week, my car was towed. He did not come see me one time. And that's when, like, I know my antlers should have been going off, but that's when I was like, okay, like, what's going on here? So I asked him, I was like, why haven't you came to see me yet? Like, and he was like, oh, I've been busy. So I'm like, okay. Like, things started like making sense to me. Like, the things that I was ignoring at first, I wasn't ignoring it anymore. You know, I'm side-eyeing him because I'm like, what you mean you was busy? Like, what do you mean? So I started getting sick of him. Like, I started getting sick of him. Like, it just, you know, the things just started like making sense. Like, I got men on the side that want more from me, but I'm not giving them more because I'm quote unquote in a relationship with you. Like, for example, I never stayed, did I? The boyfriend I was having intercourse with, right? So I wasn't going there with the other guys because I'm just, that didn't sit well. I would entertain them to a certain extent because I had a boyfriend. I started putting two and two together and I'm like, you ain't come see me not one time, but I got men that wants to see me literally every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's when like my eyes started opening basically. And I started getting tired of him. I used to talk to my sister about it a lot and she was like, you know, it's a reason that you basically like, you clocking out. Like, I was just in a space where like he's starting to irritate me now. You know when you get to that point with a man, like you just like, ugh, like what am I doing? I was getting to that point with him. So it started getting to a point where like we was arguing a lot and it was like weeks going by. I was just ignoring him and it just, like I said, I was sick of him. I was so sick of him. It was so many things that was about him. Like, one, when you go to his TikTok following, all you see is big booty women, right? I don't have a big butt. So I was already side-eyeing him because I'm like, that's really what you like, ain't it? That's really what you want. That was the first thing. Second thing, he had a Twitter page, right? His ad name was like user 96482567855. Like that. It was like all these numbers, right? You go to his feed, he don't tweet, he don't do anything like that, but at the time, it was Twitter, and it was showing you the person's likes. Y'all, it was all and I'm like, it was so many things that was giving me the ick about this man, but because I loved him, I was overlooking it. But I was peeping it. I remember one day we were in a plaza parking lot and he gets a phone call. Any other time he gets a call, he answers in front of me. This particular time, he got the call, got out the car and walked like around his car. So he got out of my car. His car was parked right next to mine, and he like walked around to the passenger side of the car. So you know me, that discernment, my antlers is going up, and I'm like, you swear you slick. But again, I wasn't pressuring him because let's just call it for what it was. I wasn't faithful. Like, I was doing, child, let me tell y'all something. I was doing my thing. Mind you, this particular day when we was in the parking lot, it had to be like 11 o'clock a.m. So he was like, once I clock into work, I'm gonna text you where I'm at, and then you can, come keep me company, whatever. All right, cool. So this day I had a lineup, right? So I had him at like 5, and then I had another guy at like 7. He had asked me what kind of flowers that I like, so I already knew what he wanted to see me for. And then I had the date with the other guy at like 9. So my evening was packed. Okay, so when I went to go see the boyfriend, I was kind of like rushing. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm kind of like paying attention to the time and it's all that. So remind you, I went over the time, right? I told you I was supposed to see guy number 2 by like 7. This day we weren't in his patrol car. We were sitting in my car at his police district. So the guy is calling me. We were in my car. So the number popped up on the screen because obviously it was connected to the Bluetooth. The number kept popping up on the screen and I was just letting it ring. Like I didn't like decline it because I was just letting it ring, but I would just turn the volume off. So he was like, who is this? And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, that number keeps popping up. Y'all know he's a cop. So cops are like trained to be very, what's the word I'm looking for? Attentive. Okay? So he's like, this number keeps calling. Like I seen this number pop up and text you multiple times. And I was just like, I don't know who this is. Like, and I just changed the subject. So I'm like, I gotta go. Like, I'm supposed to meet with my cousin, So he's like, all right, cool. So remind you, I meet the guy, the second guy lived in North Philly. The boyfriend's police district was in North Philly. Literally like not even 5 minutes from the district is where I was meeting the other guy. He was just giving me flowers, honestly. I leave the boyfriend and I go meet the second guy, right? So where we had met at, it was like, I had backed into the parking spot, right? So my car was facing forward. And then the guy pulled in. So his car was facing backwards. So I never get out the car, right? I stayed in the car while he got out and gave me the flowers or whatever. Talking, gave me money, all that good stuff. So it was just like an exchange. It wasn't like I was coming to chill with him. You know what I mean? So as I'm sitting in the car, talking to him, I see a patrol car ride past. I see his brake lights come on. He steps on the brake, but then he just keeps going. My spirit said, that's your boyfriend. That's your boyfriend, right? Within 5 minutes, I get a text. Who you just meet up with? I was still with him at the time, so I just act like I ain't see it, like I didn't respond to it. Now I'm on the way to the date, right? With the third guy. Whole hour goes by. He calls me because I never respond to this text. He calls me, who you just meet up with? And I was like, oh, my best friend. He was like, what you mean? Mind you, I had an old best friend that lived in North Philly, right? So anytime I was in North Philly and he saw, because remind you, okay, so the car that I had at the time was a Mitsubishi Outlander, right? But the car was all black. I had really, really dark tint. Like, I was kind of like the only Mitsubishi Outlander like that in the area. You feel me? Like, now don't get me wrong, Mitsubishi Outlanders was a very popular car, but no one had tints. Like, my whole car was just blacked out. Okay, I had black rims, everything was blacked out. So you knew that was my car. Remind y'all, I told y'all that he used to have me in the district a lot. So his co-workers also knew my car, okay? Literally, like, if I would ride past a cop and like I would keep my window cracked a little bit, because when you got tint, like, it'd be dark inside, so my windows will be cracked, like, just a nice amount. And if I, like, let's just say I was riding this way and a cruiser was coming this way, they would look at me, give me a little nod, and just keep going. Child, whole district knew what I was driving. Anyway, so I used to be in North Philly a lot. So again, I did have a best friend that lived in North Philly, but I haven't talked to that man in years. But I kept using him as an excuse. Because, for example, like, he would call me like, yo, my coworker said he just saw you at such and such. Like, who you over there with? So I used to be like, I'm at my best friend's house. Like, I used to use him as a scapegoat, basically, even though it's been years since I've even talked to that boy. So he calls me. He's like, who you just meet up with? And I was like, my best friend. Oh, you never said your best friend was a guy? And I was like, yes, I did. Like, I've been told you that. So he like, oh, okay, well, I got the license plate written down, so I'll just run a background check. So I was like, okay. Like, I knew he was just bluffing, like, even though he could have. So I was like, okay. Like, so fast forward, that situation was over. I go with the other guy and we go on a date. Now, with him, I still had to be on a swivel because the area that he lived in was like really high in crime. It was cops around that area all the time. And I told you, they knew my car. Like, the whole district knew what I was driving. So I had to be like on a swivel. Like if I was like posted up, because remind you, the guy that I was on a date with, he always wanted to see me. So he was like, oh, my grandma cooking out, slide through, my aunt cooking out, slide through, da-da-da-da. He just wanted to show me off to everybody. So whenever I was with him, you know, I had to like be on the swivel, because you know, the patrol cars, you don't know who's driving the car, you just see the car. So I was like ducking and dodging. Fast forward, this was going on for a month, literally a whole year. Our anniversary was coming up. I'm doing Uber and I get a text from his phone. Said, my name is such and such, I am his wife. We've been together for 10 years, married for 1 year, this upcoming October something, but you can have him. So I'm like, huh? I was so confused. Found it back and I said, is this a joke? I was so confused. Only social media he was really active on was Facebook. So when she told me her name, I looked in his friends list. There was one person that comes up, right? I'm looking on the profiles. There was like no interaction between them two. They were just friends on this app. So I'm like, I don't really know if that's her, da-da-da-da. Okay, cool. So mind you, I'm calling the phone. I'm not getting an answer. Okay. So I didn't lose my cool about it. Like, I kept on with my Uber, stuff like that. So he finally calls me back and I'm like, what was this like, what's up? So he's like, oh, that's my ex-wife. She had my phone. What do you mean ex-wife? You didn't even tell me you was married before. What are you talking about? So I'm still like, it's not making sense. So I'm still asking him questions and he like, y'all not going to bother me with this or something along those lines, he said. So I'm like, okay. Like, he was like, I'm about to head into work, da-da-da-da. So I get off the phone with him. I go see my other guy, not even like thinking about it for real. So the next day, I get a friend request on Facebook. It's her. I knew it was her because I told y'all the day before I went through his followings, his friends list, to see if her name popped up. So when I seen such and such wants to be your friend, I knew it was her. I accepted the request and I accepted the message request. And she's like, are you the young lady that I texted from such and such phone? I'm like, yes. And I'm calling her on Facebook. She's not answering. She then writes me, oh, I just have a few questions. What do you know about me? If anything, what has he said to you about me? And I'm like, girl, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? So I'm steady calling her because like, girl, this is not a texting matter. Answer the phone. She's still asking me questions. So I'm like, why are you not answering? She finally calls me back. We're having a conversation and I'm like, are you really his wife? She's like, yeah. She was like, we got 4 kids. Da-da-da. And I was like, wait a minute. Whoa. I only know about 2 kids. And she was like, oh, 2 are mine, 2 are his. Okay, cool. And she's like, yeah, like this upcoming October something is our anniversary. We just got married a year ago. And da-da-da. And I was like, Like at that point, I was on her side because I'm like, okay, like this mother, I was team her all the way. So she asking me questions, I'm answering all of them. I'm telling her everything. She's like, oh, where did y'all meet? Da-da-da-da-da. Where do he be taking you? I told her the whole shebang. I told her everything. Everything. Like, it never was like, oh, well, girl, that's my man. Did it? No. Absolutely, positively not. So I'm like, you know, he don't wear a ring and stuff. She's like, yeah, I know he don't wear a ring. Da-da-da-da. So she asked me, she's like, have you ever been pregnant by him? I said, no, he had a vasectomy. She said, no, he didn't. I said, girl, yes, he did. She was like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. I'm thinking in my head, like, he probably had her thinking all this time something was wrong with her. Whole time he had a vasectomy and didn't even tell her. She was like, oh, you sound so young. How old are you? I was 25 at the time. So I was like, oh, I'm 25. She was like, yeah, you sound really, really young. So I asked her, I said, why are you so calm? She was like, oh, he did this before. She said she found me and 4 other women in his phone. I said, okay. I'm like, I told y'all, I wasn't even tripping because it all made sense. You know, the certain behaviors, me never being to his crib. Like I said, I had somebody on the side that was making up for everything that he lacked. So that's why I wasn't really tripping, but it made sense. And like I said, I was team her all the way. Like, ever to willingly deal with a married man, like, ill. No, that ain't even, I ain't even built like that. Yeah, she's asking me all these questions and I'm telling her everything. I'm telling her the hotels he took me to. I told her everything. Everything she wanted to know, I told her. As we're talking, I hear her, she tells somebody in the background, she's like, shh. And my spirit says, she's recording you. Okay, cool. So we get off the phone, maybe like an hour or two later, she puts me, her, and him in a group chat on Facebook. She's like, oh, do you have any proof? Because he's saying you're lying. So she sends the screenshot of their conversation. And sure enough, she sent him this recording of the phone conversation. He's basically gaslighting her. Oh, believe her if you want. You can hear the lies in her voice. If you choose to believe her, that's on you. Blah, blah, blah. You know how men do. You know. I said, you want proof? Okay, here you go. I sent her proof, basically videos, pictures of us together, stuff like that. Then he proceeds to say, oh, that don't mean I had with her, right? So I'm watching the show, right? I'm watching them two talk back and forth. Mind you, she pump faking. Oh, I want your stuff out of my house, da-da-da-da. He like, oh, you really gonna believe her, da-da-da-da. He's basically saying that I'm lying. Then the South Philly in me came out. I'm like, boy, I basically said your private part. I said that word. I'm like, your private part not even big for you to be acting how you acting right now. Like, is you for real? Like, is you dumb? Like, I got in his real quick. Like, are you for real right now? Like, you're not even that to be acting how you acting right now. Like, what's up? Like, I felt like a real man would have been like, you know what? Yeah, I know the girl. I slept with her. She don't mean nothing. Babe, I love you. Something like that. But you're really trying to sit here and act like I'm just a fan and that I'm just claiming you and you ain't never had no dealings with me. Like, are you crazy? I read him to filth, y'all. I read him to filth in the group chat in front of his wife. I don't care. And so she's basically like still asking me for proof. And that was the moment where I was like, no wonder he is doing what he's doing. Because girl, the proof was you writing me from his phone. The proof was you then proceeding to find my Facebook. How did you even find that? To this day, I don't even know. Like, first of all, my name on Facebook is not my actual name. So how did you even find that? And you still asking me for proof. Like, girl, you knew the minute you text me from his phone. Like, let's just be for real. And I'm like, that was the moment I said, oh, y'all got some circus going on here. And I don't want no parts of it. She sends another screenshot of them in a private conversation. He tells her to ask me where his tattoos are. Like, I said, this can't be real. This cannot be real. Like, the gaslighting was so real. You asked this woman to ask me where your tattoos are, knowing that I know where they are. What is happening right now? So she proceeds to ask me. She says something like, and this is going to be the real test. Could you tell me where his tattoos are? I said, yeah, they're on his back and on his chest. She said, thank you. He's still going, you really gonna believe her? Da-da-da. Why would you tell her to ask me when you knew I knew? I was like, y'all really got some weird stuff going on. Like, this is a circus that you, like, he's been a clown for all of it. But then she's a clown because she's still asking me for proof when I sent her the proof. Like, girl, how much proof do you need? How much do you need? That's what I said. I said, y'all got some kind of circus going on here and I don't want no parts of it. So I took myself out the message and I blocked both of them. So I'm not gonna lie, my feelings was hurt only because I felt like I was being played with. Like I told y'all, I had a temper. God delivered me from my temper, but then he delivered me this year. When this happened, I still had this temper, and I hate feeling like somebody playing with me. Cause don't play with me. Don't play with me. So that was actually like my first heartbreak. You feel me? So I was going through like the range of emotions. I had this friend, she was checking on me every day. She's like, how you feeling? Because she already knew what was coming with it. And I'm telling her like, girl, 1 minute I'm fine, next minute I'm mad, next minute I'm crying. And she was like, oh yeah, you're going to experience the roller coasters of emotions. It's going to happen. One day, I was livid. I'm not even joking. Like, I was furious. Because, again, it wasn't about him. It wasn't like, oh, I thought we was going to be together forever. It wasn't that. I was pissed because you really played in my face like that. Like, for real. I mean, even though I was doing what I was doing, but that's not the point. I wasn't married, okay? The things that he was doing with me as a married man was crazy. And I don't mean, like, rated R. I mean, like, that man cleaned my nose. He cleaned my ears. He ate the gum out of my mouth. Like, how you doing all that and you a married man? Like, that is disgusting. That is disgusting. So after this happened, right, I think I talked to him twice. And I was just like, why did you do that? You know, it wasn't on no, well, we could still kick it. It wasn't none of that. I really just wanted to know, like, why did you do that? That was the first time I've ever heard this man speechless. Mind you, he's a cop. He's trained to think quick on his feet, okay? He got an answer for everything. That's the first time I heard him speechless. And I was just like, I think I just hung up on him. You know what I mean? So maybe 2 weeks later, at this point, I'm in that angry stage. I was pissed. Like, you really gonna play me like that? For real? So there was, the police district has a parking lot, and then they have a private parking lot for the actual officers. I've been to the private parking lot multiple times. So my objective was to go and trash his car. Yeah. Looking back, see, this is why I say, though, God was covering me when I didn't even know he was covering me. Because I planned to vandalize a police officer's car. Private car, not the patrol car. His car. I was going to tear it up. But, but I get to the district. I get to the private parking lot. His car is nowhere to be found. And so I remember I stopped and I spoke to, like, one of his coworkers. It was a woman, though. And so I asked her, like, can I press charges for emotional distress? I asked her if I could press charges for emotional distress. And she asked me, she said, like, she asked me for context. I was like, you know, I told her. I didn't care. And she just was like, are you sure the officer works here? So I said his name. And she was like, oh, yeah, he's here. Because he'd been a cop for a while, like years. So, you know, she was like, oh, he's a well-respected officer. I already know all that. And, you know, I told her what happened. So she was like, first and foremost, you can't press charges if it's a personal matter. Like, if it was a situation where it was like cop versus citizen, then you had a conversation. But because it was a personal matter, they wasn't doing nothing about that. And then she proceeded to say, she was like, girl, don't ruin your life over him. Like, she was like, he be coming to work, dirty uniform, smelly. Like, girl, he is not somebody you want to ruin your freedom over. And when she said that, she was so right. Because there's been times where I met him at a laundromat. Multiple times I was bringing him food. After the fact, I was like, how was I doing all that and you had a wife? All this time you was married, but yet you dingy, you always ashy. Like, I created a little hygiene kit. So like, I had lotion in there for him. I had sanitizer, gloves, tissues, you know, all the stuff for him to take with him while he was like on duty. All this time you was married and I was literally like, when I said this man always was hungry, I'm not even joking. But at the time, that was my boyfriend, so I didn't mind it. But like, why am I feeding you and you married? You should have a packed lunch or something. Your wife not cleaning your uniform? Like, when the officer said it, I was like, you're so right. It's been multiple times I was like, what is that on your clothes? He was like, oh, I don't know, maybe some food or something. He used to have stains all on his stuff. Like, I definitely lowered my standard dealing with him. But again, we got to remember, at this time, I wasn't loving myself. So when you don't love yourself, you kind of like, you look for other people to love you. And as a result, you may lower your standard. So as she's saying this to me, I was just like, girl, you was so right. You was so right. And I'm like, yeah, he ain't worth it. So I got in my car and I left. And I think 2 days later, right, I was like lit this night. Like, my sister had another game night. I had a few drinks. I was smoking at the time. I was lit this night. So I called his ass. I was like, I was still pissed. Like I said, my feelings was hurt. Not about him. It wasn't about him. It was about the fact that I felt played. Like, you really disrespected me. You really was lying to me the whole time. And so I said to him, I was like, so you just ain't care about me. Like, you was just doing all that and you just, the whole year, you just didn't care. And he said, my superior called me in his office. They showed me a security camera. He said, you came to my job to the private parking lot, which I knew had cameras, but I didn't care. I was that mad. I didn't care. He said, you came to my job in the private parking lot. You then proceeded to have a conversation with one of my coworkers in an attempt to vandalize my car. He said the superior man, chief, whatever you want to call him, he said he asked me if I wanted to press charges. This man said, if I didn't care about you, you'd be in jail right now. And then I said, let's just call him Steve. I said, well, I guess this is goodbye, Steve. I hung up. I never spoke to him ever again. 2 years later, he followed me on TikTok, started liking like all my videos and stuff like that. But there was never another conversation after that, ever. That was it. First and foremost, I would never willingly deal with a married man. Like, even though I wasn't loving myself and my self-esteem was very low at that time, it wasn't that low to the point where I couldn't get a man on my own. Because let me just tell you something. Even though I wasn't loving myself, even though I was insecure, I had men on my body. Okay? Simple. So it was never that low to the point where I would willingly know a man is married and still pursue him. And then, like I said, the aftermath revealed to me his true colors. You know, when he got caught, like I said, a real man would have just took it on the chin. You know what, babe? I know her. I slept with her. It happened. I'm sorry. Let's move on. Whatever. A real man is going to own what he do, and that's it. But for you to gaslight her, first and foremost, and then act like I'm tripping, like I'm just this crazy fan, I was like, oh yeah, no. Absolutely not. As a result, I ended up blocking him on TikTok because I knew it was just bait. Like, I knew, like, he was just testing the waters, you know, following me, liking my posts, but not even saying anything. He thought that I was going to be the one to say something. Ugh. Like, absolutely not. I think a couple months later, I ended up looking on his wife's Facebook, and she was pregnant. And so I thought to myself, because sometimes I feel like we don't think that we are lessons in someone else's life. But just like people come in our lives to teach us a lesson, sometimes we are used for the same thing. So it dawned to me, like, what if the situation with me was supposed to happen so that he could finally do right by his wife? Because obviously, if she was pregnant, that means he had to reverse his vasectomy. So I literally thought about it, like, what if I was supposed to be the thing that happened so that he can finally do right by his wife? You know what I mean? Like, it's no hate in my heart. I wish them the best. Trust me, I don't want nothing to do with that. Ugh. Yeah. I no longer talk to the other two guys. After that situation is actually when I started my weight loss journey. Like, it wasn't that situation that led me to it, but I think it was the whole realizing that I was insecure about myself. You know what I mean? Because again, I should have walked away the minute he said, oh, I live with my baby mom, but we're not together. That should have been the first red flag, okay? So yeah, after that, I started my fitness journey. I kind of just stopped like dating at all, period. Like, I didn't want to talk to another man. So, and now look where we are. Look what God has done the few years after that happened. I think that's the end of that story time. Please don't judge me. I am not that girl anymore. I am not that girl anymore, okay? Like, God he has did his big one in me since then, okay? So please understand, I am not that girl anymore. But once upon a time, you feel me, I wasn't loving myself. I was insecure, and as a result, I ended up in a lot of crazy situations. So stay tuned. We're gonna get into some more story times. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Stay tuned for my next video, which will be posted every Tuesday at 7 p.m. So you can either hit the bell button so that you're notified, or just set a reminder in your phone. Either one works for me. Until next time, love you all. Mwah.